I remember the clinking of silverware, the laughter, the kind of laughter that sounds sweet but rots underneath. It was a Sunday, our family's ritual dinner. My grandfather sat at the head of the table, as always, quiet but watchful. He looked older that night, like he was carrying something heavy. I noticed his hand trembling slightly as he passed me the bread basket. And then, casually, he slipped an envelope under my napkin. "Don't open this here," he whispered. "Go home, pack a bag. They're watching you. You have 24 hours." He didn't look at me again. That was the last normal dinner I ever had. When I got home, I locked every door and sat at my kitchen table. The envelope was thin, yellowed at the edges, sealed with red wax, the kind my grandfather used for old family documents. My pulse was hammering before I even tore it open. Inside, one photograph, a USB drive, and a handwritten note. The note said, "They've turned on you. Don't trust anyone, not your parents, not your brother. The money in your account isn't yours anymore. Leave tonight. Plug in the drive when you're safe." I didn't understand. Not until I did. You grow up believing blood protects you, that family is a circle, impenetrable, sacred. I used to believe that too, until I saw the files. The drive contained recordings, emails, bank transfers, a voice memo, my father's voice. Cold, calculating. He was planning to have me declared mentally unstable. "The inheritance should go to Daniel," he said. "She's unpredictable. We'll make it look like stress, maybe an overdose." Daniel, my brother, my only brother. The one who hugged me every time I failed, who called me kiddo. He was in on it too. I replayed the audio until it burned into my brain. They weren't just stealing my inheritance, they were dismantling my existence. I didn't cry, not that night. I went silent instead. And silence is dangerous. It breeds clarity. For 3 months, I let them believe I was breaking down. I canceled work, stopped answering calls, showed up disheveled at family dinners. I played the part perfectly. While they smiled and whispered to lawyers, I set the stage. I moved funds, quietly, legally. Grandfather's trust still had my signature rights. He'd made sure of that before they tried to cut me off. I traced every transfer they'd made. I documented every falsified medical report they'd filed. I even got the audio of Daniel bribing the psychiatrist. Every lie had a timestamp, every betrayal a receipt. I waited for the right moment, the family trust meeting. It happens once a year. Grandfather's estate lawyer, family members, a few witnesses. It was my father's big day. He'd pushed grandfather to retire from managing the assets due to health reasons. He wanted full control. That morning, I wore black. Not mourning, precision. When I entered the room, my father smiled like he'd already won. Daniel avoided eye contact. Grandfather, frail but alert, sat by the window, silent witness to the storm he knew was coming. The lawyer began the proceedings. My father made his pitch, steady voice, fake charm, the kind of manipulation he'd perfected over years. Then came my turn. "I have a few documents to add," I said, sliding a flash drive across the table. The lawyer plugged it in. The screen flickered to life. Audio files played. My father's voice, Daniel's, the psychiatrist's, conversations about my supposed instability, the fake prescriptions, the offshore transfers, every ugly detail. I watched their faces crumble in slow motion. Daniel went pale first. My father's jaw locked, a vein pulsing at his temple. My mother whispered his name like a plea. The lawyer froze. Grandfather didn't move. He just closed his eyes, as if confirming what he already knew. I let the silence linger before I spoke. "You tried to erase me. You should have made sure I didn't keep the receipts." The fallout was immediate. The lawyer called for an internal review. The trust froze all accounts under investigation. My father's reputation ruined overnight. The audio leaked to the board of directors. Daniel lost his job, his marriage, his composure. I didn't raise my voice once. I didn't have to. Within a week, my father was facing charges for fraud and conspiracy. Daniel disappeared to another city. My mother tried to call me. I let it ring. Grandfather died 2 months later, peacefully, in his sleep. He left me a final letter, short, elegant handwriting, steady even in age. You did what I couldn't. You ended the cycle. At the funeral, no one spoke to me. They avoided my gaze, like I was a ghost who knew too much. Maybe I was. After the burial, I stood beside the grave while the last guests left. The air was sharp, heavy with rain. I whispered, "It's done." And for the first time in years, I meant it. Sometimes, late at night, I still hear their laughter from that dinner table, the sound of forks scraping porcelain, of false warmth. But it doesn't sting anymore. It reminds me of what silence can do, how it cuts deeper than screams. They built their empire on deceit. I dismantled it with evidence and timing. Justice doesn't always wear a badge. Sometimes it wears a calm face and waits. I didn't destroy my family. They did that themselves. I just turned on the lights.